All right, so this is going to be a review of Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve, just like the first part was. I believe that came out in 2021. It was very hyped, overhyped, if you ask me. I didn't really care all that much for that first movie. It had bad pacing, a lack of character development of even Paul, I think. And I did think that if you're somebody who's not already kind of associated with the series, I thought that maybe it fell short when it came to getting new people in, because there's just so much lore, and Dune just has so much going on. So we start off where we left off with the last movie. Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, and his mother Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson. They're with the Fremen. They're on their way back to, I guess, their sieges or whatever, and they're supposed to be learning their ways and things like that. They live amongst them for a while. Obviously, we have the prophecy that was the Bene Gesserit influenced the Fremen with all those years ago, and so there are Fremen that believe that Paul is this Messiah figure that will lead them to paradise and things like that. Chani, once again played by Zendaya, has a lot more to do in this one. Her and some of the other Fremen don't actually believe in it, right, and call it for what it is. It's religious manipulation by the Bene Gesserit and things like that. Paul doesn't want to, lean into it, but eventually he does lean into it and become this Messiah figure for them, so that he can use the Fremen in their strength against not only the Harkonnen, but also the Emperor. So this movie is definitely, I think, better than the first one, at least for me. Just like that first one, great cinematography. I mean, the sand dunes look beautiful, and it really captures the danger of it, but also what the Fremen appreciate about it, and learning more about their culture and things like that. With Paul, the score is still great. The yelling thing I'm still not crazy about, but it's not in that much of this movie. And also the action, especially when we get towards the end. The fight with Paul and Fade Routha, I think that's how you pronounce it. That was fantastic. I mean, having that have no sound, just the sounds of the actual fight itself was so effective, and it was amazing. Great hand to hand choreography, and you feel the weight of that fight because of how much is kind of hinging on the whoever wins it, the outcome of it. It's so good. I really like the storyline here of the false prophet or the fake messiah, and how people can be manipulated through religion and through superstition and things like that. And the character arc of Paul not really wanting to deal in that, right? Seeing how wrong this is, and then finally taking that step to embrace it and what it becomes. I mean, the ending. I mean, if you think that ending is supposed to be good or supposed to be some kind of like, yeah, the hero's winning or whatever, you completely miss the point, because the ending is actually wrong. It's sad that it went that far, and his fears were realized. It's so good. Like, the ending of this is fantastic, and it brings it all together. For as far as this gets with Paul and the Fremen, I think that there's not enough time with them, of him getting to know them and things like that, right? It kind of feels like it's sped through. Like, they spend so much time setting up Paul's little sister, right? You're pregnant. He tells his mom, you're pregnant, and things like that. And this baby's supposed to be like really smart or something. I think the baby's supposed to already act like a grown woman or something like that. I do remember, if there's one thing that's memorable, I do remember that creepy little girl from the David Lynch Dune. That movie is crazy.
Kill this child. She's an abomination. Kill her. Get out of my mind!
Not until you tell them both who I really am.
They don't have time for that. So they have a vision of the daughter older. And it's just so that they could show that, hey, we got this actress for like one scene or whatever. It's very, very much a cameo. And then the baby is just talking to Jessica from the womb. And that, to me, came off as ridiculous. I was like, I'm supposed to take this seriously? I really can't. You don't really have as much time as you need with these villains. Dave Bautista's character, Beast Raban, in the first movie, he's just kind of yelling. He's not really in that much, that first one. But he does more here. He's cruel, but also incompetent. He's always letting the Baron down and things like that. By the way, the Baron doesn't do nearly as much in this movie that I think he should. I think he's in more of the first movie. But Raban, I mean, that's kind of just it, right? There's this whole storyline with what's it, Gurney? I think his name was Gurney, Josh Brolin's character. Yeah, Gurney Halleck. There's this whole thing where he used to be a slave and things like this in the book, from what I heard, that he was a slave and he got a scar by Raban, and Raban also killed his family, stuff like that. There's a moment for them to have that that thing where Gurney gets his vengeance, and it's so quick. It's barely that much of a storyline or anything for Gurney. Played by Austin Butler. I think Austin Butler does a good job, but Faye Roth, at the end of the day, he's just an intimidating figure for Paul to fight at the end. I really like that fight and the weight behind it, but when it comes to the character, by the time it was about to happen, I forgot he was in the room. Like, I mean, he's really skilled. He's intimidating. He's way more effective than Raban, and kind of looks down on Raban along with the Baron. And that's it. And he has to fight Paul at the end, and he's really good. You see him in this gladiator match where two of them were already drugged, but one of them wasn't. So you can see his strength, that he actually is skilled even without having to tamper with things. But that's it. I needed more from that character. He seems very important in the movie. They really hype him up, but then at the end of the day, it's just like he's an obstacle, that final obstacle for Paul. But then we get to the Emperor. This movie really suffers from the Emperor not being in that first movie, because you don't get much from him here. Christopher Walken was a weird casting choice, because at points I want to laugh at some of his dialogue, because he's like funny walking a little bit. And also, he spends a lot of the movie this is just Christopher Walken to me, right? There's not enough development for me to see this as another character. I don't know why they did that, because even in David Lynch's Dune, you see the Emperor from like the very beginning of the movie. Why were they holding him back until this second half? And then he barely really does all that much. It kind of fell flat for me. I'm gonna give this awesome, right? I really like all the stuff with Chani and Paul, and with the religious manipulation and all this about the holy war and things like. I like that stuff a lot. But when it comes to the villains and some of the like outward stuff, like the Bene Gesserit and their plans, everything they got going on, I just think it falls short in ways that, from what I've heard, the book doesn't, because this is just, it's as good an adaptation of that as it can be. But yeah, that's it. That is Dune Part 2, and we're done.